All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. On Monday, a biotechnology company making a $700 million investment in Wake County symbolically broke ground on its new facility. Genentech has major plans to develop obesity drugs in Holly Springs. WRAL's Shaun Gallagher joins me to talk about the company's plans. Shaun, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem, Grace.
So it seems like Holly Springs just keeps getting more and more attention from biotech companies like this. So what are some of the other developments that are going on in that part of the county right now?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. One of the first stories I covered for WRAL was Fujifilm Diosynth breaking ground, and that was over a year ago, but it feels like it's been full steam ahead for Holly Springs for much of the last year. Obviously, Fujifilm, like I just mentioned, they broke ground on a new facility last April. Announced a $1.2 billion investment with over 600 jobs. Then later, Amgen, another $1 billion investment with even more jobs. And then Genentech, they're adding about 400 jobs, permanent jobs, but they're investing about $700 million. So a lot of money coming into Holly Springs, which only means one thing. All of those companies have to pay taxes, and that's going to benefit the entire area.
And what do we know about Genentech's planned new facility? And you mentioned those 400 jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those 400 jobs are permanent. They announced that it's going to be something like 1,900 jobs, but more than 3/4 of those are going to be construction jobs so that they can actually get this facility up and running. But again, 400 or so permanent jobs that are really well paying. I mean, they are over $100,000 a year, which a lot of these biotech jobs are. And really, North Carolina is quickly becoming a hub for, the biotech industry, if not already. I mean, we talked with Wake Tech's president, and, this is a big generator of, talent and money for Wake Tech and other areas to try to, fulfill these jobs because international companies keep focusing in on the Triangle and North Carolina as a whole for these biotech jobs.
Right. And so what kind of medicines is the facility going to make? Is it just going to be those obesity drugs, or are there other developments they want to do?
Yeah, it could be something else down the line, but the big focus right now is on those kind of obesity controlling drugs. And they kind of, they stretch that out a little bit, talking about how this can impact heart disease and basically, those conditions that are impacted by obesity. They say that these drugs will help with that. Not necessarily like a direct, blood pressure medication, but if these drugs could help somebody lose some weight, it could have an impact on that. So, I mean, people are probably familiar with the term GLP-1 at this point, but if you're not, these are drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. They don't have those names when you talk about Genentech, but they're focusing in on two drugs that are both similar and something people have probably heard of. They are developing two drugs. One would be a weekly injectable, which is really what we're probably all familiar with when you talk about GLP-1s. And then they're also entering the race into trying to create an oral tablet that people could take daily. And there are a lot of businesses around here that are trying to be the first to officially go to market with that. So really going to be an interesting race to watch as we go forward.
All right, let's take a quick break right there, and we'll be right back. Shaun, before the break, you were talking about sort of this landscape that we've seen develop in Holly Springs with all these different biotech companies, and you talked about with Genentech specifically the race that they are kind of going to be joining with this facility to try to develop that oral form of those GLP-1 drugs. So those are very current things that are just going on in our area and will have an impact nationwide. With all of that in mind, what sort of economics incentives did the county, the city, the state offer to try to get this company to come here?
Yeah, so from a state perspective, they've offered up about $13 million in a variety of grants, including close to $10 million in jobs grants. Now, in order for them to get that money, they need to hit certain benchmarks every single year, basically, in order to get that money. So it's kind of a win-win when you think of the money coming from a state level. And then locally, it's even more money that they're looking at. The Holly Springs is looking at about 33.5 million. That's still being considered. That's still up in the air. But, Holly Springs obviously feels really good about the biotech industry and going forward. So they're really excited about, a company wanting to, really plant its roots there in Holly Springs and, keep this going.
Right. But, given the fact that there are other companies, how is Holly Springs sort of juggling all of these at one time? And how do they feel about becoming home to all these different places?
Yeah, it kind of feels like a more the merrier kind of situation right now. It's not like they're trying to, sell these drugs to the local residents there in Holly Springs so that they would be oversaturated or anything like that. It's really that, this place in North Carolina with all these biotech companies are looking to sell not just nationwide, but globally as well. I mean, it says a lot that a company from Switzerland that had a headquarters or has a headquarters in San Francisco is coming to Holly Springs for its first East Coast location. I mean, that should speak volumes to what that means, not just from a standpoint of, a local government, a state government that is so welcoming to these kinds of businesses, but to a place that has the infrastructure in place already. Holly Springs has proven that it can be successful for companies. So other companies are going to want to follow suit. There is a lot of land out here that is open for the taking to, build up these, $100 million, $700 million facilities. I mean, they are taking 100 acres of land and transforming it over the course of the next 4 years to be on the front lines of the GLP manufacturing in the United States of America.
It's going to be interesting to watch all of this develop, and it sounds like Holly Springs is going to look different in a few years. Thank you so much, Shaun. We appreciate your reporting on this.
Yeah, of course.
And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.